Chosen ones, listen carefully. I have an important and urgent message to share today, and I will be very clear from the beginning. This message is not for everyone. If you do not walk the divine path of God, if you mock spiritual truth, if your heart resists obedience, this message will not sit well with you. You are free to leave. But if you are a true follower of God, if you have felt set apart your entire life, if you know deep inside that you were chosen for something greater, then this message is for you, and you are meant to hear it now. This message has reached you at the exact right time. Not early, not late. Right on schedule. Heaven does nothing by accident. Today, I need you to understand this truth deeply. There is a person who has waited 10 long years to find you, and this waiting was not human. It was prophetic. The prophecy you were given is no longer dormant. It is fulfilling, quietly, powerfully, right now. What I am about to share will bring clarity to confusion, peace to restlessness, and confirmation to your spirit. Stay with me until the end, because many chosen ones miss their breakthrough by leaving too early. Before we continue, chosen ones, give a like to this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, tap the bell icon, share this message with other chosen ones so they can be part of this awakening, and comment 777 in the comments to declare that you are aligned with your mission and ready to receive what God has prepared for you. Understanding the 10-year waiting season. Chosen ones, I want you to breathe for a moment. Slow down your thoughts. Let your shoulders relax. Because before you can understand what is arriving, you must first understand what you survived. 10 years is not a short time. 10 years is long enough to doubt yourself, long enough to question your calling, long enough to wonder if you heard God correctly in the first place. And if you are honest, there were nights you asked quietly, "Did I miss it?" I am here to tell you, with authority and peace, you did not miss anything. The waiting season was not empty. It was not silence without purpose. It was not abandonment. It was alignment. God does not waste years. When heaven allows a chosen one to wait, it is because something precious is being protected on both sides. While you were waiting, you were being shaped. While you felt unseen, you were being strengthened. While you thought nothing was happening, everything was happening where your eyes could not reach. Many of you thought the delay meant rejection. It did not. Some of you believed the delay meant you were unworthy. That is not true. Others assumed the delay meant the promise was cancelled. Listen to me carefully. God does not cancel what He authored. He delays what must mature. And maturity takes time, especially for those He plans to trust with influence, depth, and responsibility. During these 10 years, God worked on your discernment. You may not realize it, but you no longer attach easily. You no longer trust words without fruit. You no longer rush connections out of loneliness. That wisdom did not come from comfort. It came from waiting. It came from disappointment. It came from learning the difference between emotional hunger and spiritual assignment. That is not weakness. That is refinement. I know some of you feel tired when you think about the past decade. You remember prayers that felt unanswered. You remember showing up for people who never showed up for you. You remember believing in things that fell apart anyway. But what you call loss, God calls filtering. He removed what could not go with you into the next season. He allowed exits because some presences would have limited your future. This is not punishment. This is protection. Let me speak to your heart gently now. The waiting season was not meant to break you. It was meant to quiet you. Chosen ones often hear too many voices early in life. Opinions, expectations, projections. The waiting stripped those voices away until you could finally hear God clearly. That clarity you have now did not exist 10 years ago. Back then, you would have confused intensity with truth. You would have confused attention with assignment. God waited until you could tell the difference, and while you were waiting, another person was waiting too. Not searching randomly, not wandering blindly, waiting under instruction, even if they did not fully understand it. God does not prepare one side and neglect the other. The same years that shaped your patience shaped their humility. The same silence that taught you endurance taught them obedience. This is not coincidence. This is coordination. Some of you felt isolated during this season, and that isolation was intentional. God isolates before He introduces. He separates before He connects. He removes distractions before He reveals direction. You had to learn how to stand alone without becoming bitter. You had to learn how to be content without becoming complacent. You had to learn how to trust God without needing constant reassurance. Those lessons could not be rushed. I want to correct a dangerous thought many chosen ones carry. Waiting does not mean stagnation. Stillness does not mean failure. In the spiritual realm, roots grow before branches are seen. The deeper the calling, the deeper the rooting process. If God had rushed this season, you might have received the connection, but you would not have sustained it. And God is not interested in temporary victories. He builds for longevity. Think about how much you have changed. Your reactions are different now. Your boundaries are stronger. Your prayers are quieter but deeper. Your faith is no longer loud, but it is solid. That is evidence of growth. That is evidence that the waiting worked. You are no longer chasing signs. You are listening for instruction. That shift alone tells me you are ready. I also want you to release the guilt of impatience. Yes, there were moments you complained, moments you felt frustrated, moments you wanted to give up. God was not offended by that. He understands human weakness. What mattered is that you stayed. You did not abandon your faith. You did not harden your heart. You stayed open, even when it hurt. That is why you are still here, listening to this message now. The 10-year waiting season trained your spirit to recognize peace over excitement. That is important, because what is coming will not feel chaotic. It will feel calm. It will not feel rushed. It will feel familiar in a way you cannot explain. And if this season had not prepared you, you might have overlooked it, waiting for fireworks instead of confirmation. So let me say this clearly and let it settle in your mind. You were not delayed. You were being developed. You were not forgotten. You were being fortified. You were not overlooked. You were being observed by heaven. Every year counted. Every tear mattered. Every prayer was recorded. Now the waiting season is shifting. Not because you forced it, not because you figured everything out, but because the work that needed to be done has been done. And when God decides a season is complete, no power can extend it. The door opens quietly, and those who are prepared recognize it. Stay with me, chosen ones. What comes next will make the waiting make sense. Who this person is and why they were hidden. Chosen ones, let me speak plainly now with wisdom and steadiness. The person who has waited 10 years to find you is not a random soul drifting through life. This is not coincidence, and it is not fantasy. This person is connected to your assignment, not your loneliness. That distinction matters. God does not send destiny helpers to soothe insecurity. He sends them to strengthen purpose. This person was hidden for a reason, and so were you. When God hides people, He is not denying them connection. He is preserving alignment. Some connections are too sacred to be exposed too early. If they had found you 10 years ago, it would not have ended in peace. It might have felt intense. It might have felt exciting. But it would not have lasted. God does not introduce what He has not finished preparing. You must understand something important about divine connections. They are not built on urgency. They are built on readiness. The person who waited was not idle. They were being shaped in ways you could not see. They were learning restraint, humility, and obedience. They were being taught how to recognize God's timing instead of forcing their own. In the same way you were learning patience, they were learning surrender. Many chosen ones struggle here because they imagine this person as perfect or mystical. Let me ground you gently. This person is human. They have weaknesses. They have scars. They have their own history of waiting, disappointment, and unanswered prayers. What makes them significant is not flawlessness. It is alignment. They have been trained by God to meet you with maturity, not projection. God hid this person because premature exposure would have caused confusion. You both had to unlearn certain patterns first. You had to break cycles of overgiving, rescuing, or shrinking yourself to be accepted. They had to release control, ego, or the need to be seen before being sent. These lessons cannot be learned in comfort. They are learned in solitude. Let me say this with clarity. This person was not avoiding you. They were being restrained by God, and you were not overlooked. You were being guarded. Heaven placed distance where timing required it. That distance was not rejection. It was divine wisdom. Some of you assumed that because years passed, the connection no longer existed. That is a human conclusion, not a spiritual one. In God's realm, time does not weaken what He has ordained. It strengthens it. Delay does not erase assignment. It clarifies it. The longer the preparation, the more intentional the meeting. This person carries something that complements what you carry, not competes with it, not overshadows it, complements it. God does not pair chosen ones to distract them from their mission. He aligns them to stabilize it. This connection is meant to support clarity, not create chaos. Peace, not pressure. Growth, not dependency. And here is where I want you to listen closely. You are not meant to search for this person. That is why you could not find them. Destiny connections are not found through striving. They are revealed through obedience. The more you focused on becoming who God asked you to be, the closer you moved toward alignment without realizing it. That is how God works. Quietly. Intentionally. There were moments you felt an unexplained sense of restraint, as if something was holding you back from certain people or paths. That was not fear. That was discernment forming. God was training you to say no without guilt and to walk away without explanation. That strength was necessary. Without it, you would have accepted substitutes, and substitutes delay destiny. This person was hidden because they needed to learn how to wait without bitterness. Waiting reveals character. It exposes entitlement or humility. God allowed time to test their heart just as He tested yours. What survived those years is not infatuation. It is obedience. That is why this connection will feel grounded, not overwhelming. I also want to remove one more misunderstanding. This person is not arriving to complete you. You are already whole. They are arriving to walk alongside you, not to carry you. God does not build dependence between chosen ones. He builds partnership, two stable spirits aligned under one purpose, moving with mutual respect. You may wonder why God chose to hide this person instead of allowing occasional contact. The answer is simple. Partial access creates attachment without foundation. God does not tease His children. He protects them. It was better to have absence than confusion, silence than mixed signals, waiting than wounding. Now, as the season shifts, the hiding is lifting. Not because desire grew stronger, but because readiness did. You can now see clearly without idolizing. You can receive without losing yourself. You can connect without abandoning your calling. That is what the waiting accomplished. Let me reassure you gently. You did not imagine this. You did not fabricate it out of loneliness. God placed this assignment in motion long before you became aware of it, and when heaven sets something aside, it remains untouched by time. This person did not forget you. Even when they did not know your name, they were being prepared for your presence, and you were being prepared for theirs. That is divine intelligence at work. Stay calm, stay grounded. The revealing happens naturally. No forcing, no chasing. When God reveals what He hid, it comes with peace, not confusion, and that peace will be your confirmation. Signs the prophecy is actively fulfilling now. Chosen ones, this is where many of you start feeling something you cannot fully explain. A quiet shift, a subtle stirring. Not excitement that makes your heart race, but clarity that makes your mind rest. That is how fulfillment begins. God does not announce His moves with noise. He confirms them with peace. And if you have been feeling calmer instead of more anxious lately, that is not coincidence. That is alignment. One of the first signs the prophecy is fulfilling is internal, not external. Your appetite has changed. Things that once pulled at you emotionally no longer have the same grip. You are less reactive, less desperate for answers, less tempted to chase what is unclear. That is not you giving up. That is you maturing. God always settles the heart before he shifts the environment. You may have noticed that memories from the past decade are resurfacing, but without pain. You remember situations that once hurt, yet they no longer control you. That emotional neutrality is important. It means the wound has closed. God does not bring fulfillment into open wounds. He waits until healing has done its work. When you can look back without bitterness, you are ready to move forward without fear. Another sign is the way your prayers have changed. You are no longer begging God to hurry. You are asking him to guide. You are no longer demanding clarity. You are listening for instruction. That posture shift tells me everything. Fulfillment responds to humility, not urgency. When you stop trying to manage outcomes, God begins to reveal them. Some of you are experiencing sudden clarity about what you will no longer tolerate. Boundaries are forming without guilt. You are saying no without over-explaining. You are stepping back without needing validation. That is not coldness. That is discernment becoming active, and discernment always activates right before divine alignment. You may also notice a strange sense of familiarity with something you have not yet seen. A calm expectation without imagery. You are not fantasizing. You are not rehearsing conversations. You simply know something is aligning. That knowing does not come from imagination. It comes from the spirit recognizing movement before the mind understands it. God often confirms fulfillment through discomfort as well. Some of you feel restless in places that once felt safe. Conversations feel shallow. Environments feel heavy. This does not mean something is wrong. It means you have outgrown a season. When God prepares to introduce something new, he loosens your attachment to what no longer fits. That tension is not punishment, it is preparation. Pay attention to repetition. Not obsessive signs, but gentle consistency. The same message arriving through different sources. The same themes appearing without effort. The same reminders returning when you are not searching. God confirms through repetition because repetition builds confidence without pressure. Another sign is timing without struggle. Doors open without force. Conversations happen naturally. Opportunities present themselves without manipulation. When fulfillment begins, striving decreases. You are not pushing life forward. Life is responding to obedience. That flow is important. God does not rush his children into alignment. He escorts them. Some of you are dreaming more vividly, not necessarily prophetic images, but emotional clarity. You wake up understanding yourself better. Understanding your fears. Understanding your needs. Dreams often organize what the conscious mind avoids. When God prepares fulfillment, he aligns the inner world first. You may also notice that your tolerance for chaos has dropped. Drama exhausts you now. Confusion irritates you. Mixed signals repel you. That is because what is coming will not be chaotic. God is training you to recognize peace as the standard. Anything that disrupts that peace will no longer feel attractive. Let me address something important. Fulfillment does not always feel joyful at first. Sometimes it feels serious, sobering, even quiet. That is because responsibility is approaching. When God fulfills prophecy, he entrusts stewardship, and stewardship requires awareness. You are not being entertained. You are being entrusted. Some of you have felt a release from old emotional loops, patterns you could not break before no longer repeat. That is evidence that the lesson was learned. God does not keep teaching what has already been understood. When the cycle breaks, the season shifts. You may also sense a strengthening of your intuition. You discern motives more clearly. You sense alignment faster. You detect misalignment without explanation. That sensitivity is not paranoia. It is training. You are being prepared to navigate fulfillment wisely. Another quiet sign is gratitude without reason. You feel thankful without knowing why, peaceful without evidence, calm without answers. That gratitude is prophetic. It means your spirit recognizes provision before manifestation. Faith always arrives before visibility. God also confirms fulfillment by removing distractions. People fade out naturally. Situations dissolve without drama. You are not chasing closure, you are accepting transitions. That ease is important. Fulfillment requires space. God clears that space gently. I want to caution you here. Do not rush to label every feeling as fulfillment. Discernment remains necessary. God moves steadily, not impulsively. The absence of urgency is your guide. If something pressures you, confuses you, or drains your peace, pause. Fulfillment will not demand haste. You may feel a growing confidence that does not need approval. You are less concerned with being understood, less focused on being seen. That internal security is essential. God does not reveal destiny connections to insecure spirits. He waits until identity is rooted. Another sign is obedience becoming easier. You no longer debate instructions. When God nudges, you respond. When he says wait, you wait. That responsiveness shows readiness. Fulfillment follows obedience, not intellect. Some of you are feeling emotionally lighter. The weight you carried for years is lifting. You are laughing again, resting better, breathing deeper. That relief is not accidental. It is the soul recognizing that survival mode is ending. Let me say this clearly. Fulfillment does not arrive with fireworks. It arrives with familiarity. It feels like recognition, not shock. When it comes, you will not need convincing. You will not need signs. You will simply know. Do not rush ahead of God. Do not slow down out of fear. Stay present. Stay attentive. Stay grounded. The prophecy is not approaching. It is activating. And if you are listening to this calmly, without panic, without desperation, that calm itself is the confirmation. Stay with me, chosen ones. The next understanding will protect what is unfolding. Why the delay was necessary for your protection. Chosen ones, I want you to hear this slowly and let it settle into your nervous system. The delay was not cruelty. It was mercy. What you were being protected from mattered just as much as what you were being prepared for. God does not delay to frustrate his children. He delays to shield them from damage they cannot yet see. 10 years ago, your heart was open, but it was not guarded. You loved deeply, but you did not yet know how to protect your spirit. You gave freely, but you did not yet understand boundaries. That kind of openness is beautiful, but it is also vulnerable. And vulnerability without discernment attracts misuse. God saw what you could not see. He saw how easily your kindness could have been exploited. He saw how quickly your purpose could have been diluted. Some of you were still carrying unhealed wounds when you first sensed this prophecy. Wounds from abandonment, wounds from betrayal, wounds from being chosen by God, but misunderstood by people. If God had allowed the connection then, you might have attached from pain instead of peace. And attachments formed in pain do not last. They bind instead of build. The delay protected you from repeating cycles, patterns you were unaware of at the time. Overgiving, over-explaining, staying longer than you should, accepting less than you deserve. God does not bring fulfillment into cycles he plans to break. He waits until the cycle loses its grip. That takes time. That takes awareness. That takes healing. I want you to reflect honestly for a moment. Think about who you were 10 years ago. Not with shame, but with clarity. You were sincere, but you were still learning discernment. You were faithful, but you were still learning self-worth. You were spiritual, but you were still learning emotional regulation. Those lessons were necessary. Without them, fulfillment would have become burden. God also delayed this connection to protect the other person. They were not ready to handle the weight of your calling back then. Chosen ones carry intensity, depth, and responsibility. Without maturity, that weight can overwhelm others. God does not place unprepared people under pressure they cannot sustain. He develops capacity before connection. Some of you underestimate how much responsibility comes with divine alignment. It is not just companionship, it is stewardship, influence, accountability. The delay allowed both of you to develop emotional strength, spiritual grounding, and personal identity. Without those, the connection would have been unstable. There were also spiritual attacks you were unaware of, distractions designed to divert you, counterfeits meant to exhaust you, temptations meant to delay your growth. If the connection had happened earlier, those attacks would have intensified before you had the strength to resist them. God waited until your discernment was sharp enough to recognize deception without becoming paranoid. Let me say this clearly. God does not reveal precious things to unprotected environments. He waits until the ground is safe. Your life needed clearing. Certain people needed to exit. Certain beliefs needed to dissolve. Certain expectations needed correction. The delay allowed that clearing to happen naturally. Some of you experienced heartbreak during the waiting years. That heartbreak was not random. It exposed where you attached too quickly, where you ignored red flags, where you hoped potential would turn into commitment. Those experiences refined your judgment. Pain taught you what peace feels like by contrast, that education was expensive, but it was effective. God also delayed because timing shapes interpretation. If fulfillment had arrived earlier, you might have idolized it. You might have placed it above God. You might have defined your worth through it. God does not compete with his gifts. He waits until your foundation is secure in him first. You needed to learn how to stand alone without becoming lonely, how to be independent without becoming hardened, how to trust God without constant reassurance. Those are not small lessons. They form character, and character determines longevity. The delay also protected you from pressure. Pressure to perform, pressure to maintain appearances, pressure to meet expectations you were not ready to carry. God waits until your confidence is internal, not external, until you no longer need approval to feel secure. That security is protection. Some of you would have compromised your calling if the connection came too early. You might have dimmed your light to keep peace. You might have delayed obedience to avoid conflict. You might have chosen comfort over conviction. God values your purpose too much to allow that. The waiting season strengthened your ability to say no. No to confusion, no to inconsistency, no to manipulation. That strength did not exist before. Now it does. And that strength protects fulfillment. Let me speak gently here. Some of you blame yourself for mistakes during the waiting years. Release that burden. God accounted for your humanity. He did not expect perfection. He expected persistence. And you persisted. That is why you are still here. The delay also protected you from spiritual burnout. Fulfillment requires energy, clarity, and focus. God waited until you were no longer surviving, but stabilizing. Until your nervous system calmed. Until your soul could receive without becoming overwhelmed. I want you to understand this deeply. God's delays are intelligent. They consider emotional health, spiritual maturity, relational capacity, and environmental readiness. Nothing was arbitrary. Nothing was accidental. You were not withheld from something good. You were being shielded from something premature. Premature blessings break people. Properly timed blessings build them. Now the protection phase is shifting, not because danger disappeared, but because strength increased. You are no longer fragile in the same ways. You are no longer naive in the same ways. You are no longer easily shaken. That is why the delay can end safely now. Do not resent the waiting. It saved you. It guarded your heart. It preserved your calling. And when fulfillment arrives, you will recognize its value precisely because you understand what it took to get here. Stay grounded, chosen ones. Protection always comes before provision. How you are called to respond now as a chosen one. Chosen ones. Now we arrive at a very important moment. Everything I have shared so far leads to this understanding. Fulfillment is not only about what God does, it is also about how you respond. Divine timing does not excuse careless behavior. Readiness requires responsibility, and this is where wisdom must guide emotion. First, let me say this clearly and without hesitation. Do not rush. Rushing is the language of fear, not faith. When God moves, he does not create panic. He creates order. If you feel pressure to hurry, to force conversations, to make something happen before it unfolds naturally, pause. That pressure is not from God. What is meant for you will not require you to abandon your peace to obtain it. Your role right now is not to chase, analyze, or anticipate outcomes. Your role is to stay aligned. Alignment looks simple, but it is powerful. It means you continue walking in obedience even when you sense movement, especially when you sense movement. Many chosen ones fail at this stage because excitement makes them careless. They stop listening, they start assuming. Stay grounded. Respond with stillness, not passivity. Stillness does not mean doing nothing. It means acting only when instructed. It means observing without reacting. It means remaining emotionally regulated even when curiosity arises. God trusts those who can manage anticipation without losing discipline. You are also called to respond with discernment, not suspicion. Discernment. There is a difference. Discernment is calm. Suspicion is anxious. Discernment observes patterns over time. Suspicion reacts to isolated moments. As fulfillment unfolds, do not interrogate it. Let it reveal itself steadily. Truth does not need to defend itself. Maintain your spiritual practices. Prayer. Reflection. Silence. These are not rituals. They are anchors. Do not abandon them now. Many people pray intensely during waiting, then become distracted during fulfillment. That reversal weakens stability. Stay consistent. Consistency protects clarity. You are also called to respond with humility. Humility does not mean shrinking. It means staying teachable. It means not assuming you know how everything will unfold. God may fulfill the prophecy in a way that looks different from what you imagined. If you cling to your expectations too tightly, you may miss the blessing in front of you. Hold expectations loosely. Hold obedience firmly. Let me speak to boundaries now. Do not lower them. Fulfillment does not require you to tolerate confusion, inconsistency, or emotional pressure. If something is truly from God, it will honor the growth He cultivated in you. You do not need to overextend to keep alignment. What is aligned will respect your limits. Respond with emotional maturity. That means you do not project past wounds onto present situations. You do not punish the future for what the past did to you. Healing does not mean forgetting. It means responding differently. If fear arises, acknowledge it without obeying it. Fear is information, not instruction. You are also called to respond with patience even now. Yes, even now. Fulfillment unfolds in layers. Revelation often comes before manifestation. Do not assume that the first sign is the final form. Let God complete the process. Partial understanding does not require immediate action. Guard your words. This is important. Do not announce what God is still forming. Some things are sacred in silence. Oversharing invites interference. Not everyone needs to know what God is aligning in your life. Privacy is not secrecy. It is stewardship. You are also called to remain focused on your mission. Do not let fulfillment become a distraction. Divine connections strengthen purpose. They do not replace it. If something pulls you away from obedience, re-evaluate. God does not bless disobedience disguised as opportunity. Respond with gratitude, not entitlement. Gratitude keeps the heart soft. Entitlement hardens it. You are not owed fulfillment. You are entrusted with it. That mindset will keep you grounded and receptive. I want to address something gently. Some of you are tempted to test God right now, to ask for signs, to demand confirmation. Listen carefully. God confirms alignment through peace, not performance. If you constantly need reassurance, return to stillness. Trust is built in silence. Also, resist comparison. Your timeline is not another chosen one's timeline. Your fulfillment will not look like theirs. Comparison introduces impatience. Impatience disrupts discernment. Stay in your lane. You are called to respond with courage. Courage to wait when waiting is required. Courage to act when action is instructed. Courage to walk away if something does not align. Courage to stay open without becoming vulnerable to harm. Let me be very clear here. You do not need to impress what God has prepared for you. You do not need to prove your worth. You do not need to perform spiritually. Be yourself, as you are now. The version of you shaped by the waiting is the version required for fulfillment. If confusion arises, slow down. If clarity remains, proceed calmly. Fulfillment will not confuse you repeatedly. It may challenge you, but it will not destabilize you. One more thing. Protect your peace fiercely. Peace is your compass. When peace leaves, pause. When peace stays, continue. God speaks through peace more often than through excitement. And finally, respond with trust. Not blind trust, rooted trust. Trust that God has accounted for details you cannot see. Trust that He is involved in timing, not just outcome. Trust that what He began, He will complete. You have done the hard part. You waited. You healed. You learned. Now your responsibility is to remain aligned, grounded, and obedient. Stay present. Stay faithful. Stay still when needed. The way you respond now determines how smoothly fulfillment unfolds. What this fulfillment will change in your life. Chosen ones, let me speak to you gently now, because this part is not about anticipation. It is about peace. When fulfillment begins to settle into your life, the first thing that changes is not your circumstances. It is your inner atmosphere. You will notice that your mind becomes quieter. The constant questioning softens. The tension you carried without realizing it starts to dissolve. This is how God confirms alignment. He brings rest before results. You will feel less fragmented. For years, many of you lived in pieces. One part obedient, one part wounded. One part faithful, one part tired. Fulfillment brings integration. You no longer feel like you are fighting yourself. Your thoughts, emotions, and spirit begin to move in the same direction. That internal agreement is powerful. When the inner world aligns, the outer world follows naturally. Another change you will notice is emotional safety. You will no longer feel the need to guard every word or brace yourself for disappointment. Not because you became careless, but because discernment has matured. You know when to speak and when to stay silent. You know when something is stable and when it is not. That awareness creates calm. Calm creates confidence. Your sense of purpose will sharpen. Fulfillment does not distract chosen ones from their mission. It clarifies it. You will see how past struggles connect to future impact. Experiences that once felt random will suddenly make sense. God does not waste pain. He repurposes it, and fulfillment often reveals why certain battles were necessary. You will also notice a shift in your energy. You are no longer exhausted by everything. You choose where to invest your attention. You stop pouring into places that drain you. That conservation of energy is wisdom. God restores strength not by adding more, but by removing what no longer belongs. Your faith will feel steadier. Less emotional highs and lows. Less panic when things are unclear. You trust God without needing constant reassurance. That stability is evidence of growth. Fulfillment strengthens trust because it confirms that God is attentive, even when silent. Another important change is the way you relate to time. You stop feeling rushed. You stop fearing delay. You understand that God works beyond urgency. That understanding releases anxiety. You are no longer racing against an invisible clock. You are walking in rhythm. Your boundaries will feel natural, not defensive. You will say no without guilt and yes without fear. You will recognize alignment quickly and misalignment without drama. That ease is not apathy. It is discernment functioning properly. You may also notice that your prayers become more conversational, less desperate, less rehearsed. You speak honestly. You listen more. Prayer becomes relationship instead of request. That depth transforms your spiritual life. Fulfillment also brings clarity in relationships. You stop trying to be understood by everyone. You stop over-explaining your calling. You accept that some people will never fully grasp your path, and that no longer bothers you. Peace replaces validation seeking. Your self-worth stabilizes. You no longer measure yourself by productivity or approval. You know who you are. That certainty makes you resilient. When challenges arise, they no longer shake your identity. They refine your response. Another quiet change is gratitude without condition. You are thankful even before outcomes are visible. That gratitude attracts peace. Peace sustains fulfillment. You will also feel more present, less trapped in the past, less anxious about the future. Presence is a sign of healing. It means your nervous system is no longer in survival mode. God restores rest before He increases responsibility. Let me say this clearly. Fulfillment does not remove challenges. It changes how you face them. You are no longer reacting from fear. You are responding from clarity. That difference changes everything. Your joy will become quieter but deeper, less dependent on circumstances, more rooted in assurance. That joy is durable. It survives storms. You may also experience a renewed sense of creativity. Ideas flow, insight sharpens, purpose feels alive. God often releases creativity when alignment stabilizes. Fulfillment also changes how you view waiting. You no longer resent it, you honor it. You understand that waiting prepared you to receive without losing yourself. You will feel emotionally supported, not rescued, strengthened, not carried. That balance matters. God builds partnership, not dependency. And perhaps the most important change is this. You trust yourself again, not arrogantly, wisely. You trust your discernment, your intuition, your growth. That self-trust is evidence of healing. Chosen ones, fulfillment does not arrive to impress you. It arrives to stabilize you, to confirm that obedience was worth it, to show you that God was present even when silent. You are not entering chaos. You are entering clarity. And that clarity will carry you forward with peace, purpose, and quiet confidence. Now stay with me. Let me seal this message and ground you in what comes next. Conclusion. Stay aligned, stay still, stay faithful. Chosen ones, let me leave you with this truth, spoken calmly and with certainty. Nothing you went through was accidental. Nothing you waited through was wasted. And nothing that is unfolding now is random. God has been present in every quiet moment, every unanswered prayer, every season where you had to trust without evidence. You were never behind. You were being prepared. What is fulfilling now is not rushing toward you. It is meeting you where you are, because you are finally ready to receive it without losing yourself. That is the victory, not the arrival itself, but the stability you now carry. You are no longer reaching from lack. You are standing in alignment. Stay still in your spirit. Stillness is not stagnation. It is strength under control. Stay faithful in the small acts of obedience. Faithfulness keeps you grounded when emotions fluctuate. And stay aligned. Alignment keeps you from forcing what God is unfolding naturally. Do not doubt the timing. Do not question your worth. Do not reopen doors God already closed to protect you. Trust the peace you feel. Peace is the confirmation. If it brings clarity, calm, and steadiness, God is in it. If it brings confusion and pressure, pause. You are not meant to chase destiny. Destiny responds to obedience. Continue being who God shaped you to be during the waiting. That version of you is enough. That version of you is ready. Before we close, chosen ones, if this message resonated with your spirit, give this video a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, tap the bell icon so you don't miss what's coming next, and share this message with other chosen ones who need this confirmation. And comment 777 in the comments as a declaration that you are aligned, obedient, and trusting God's timing completely. Remain calm, remain faithful. The season has shifted, and you are exactly where you need to be.